Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to share files from your Windows 10 computer over your network. That could include pictures, documents, videos, etc. So let's begin by clicking on Start, and we'll go up to the second icon on the left, Settings, and we'll click there. Now you get a bunch of different groups here. We want to go to Network and Internet. So once we click there, the first thing that you want to check is the type of network that you have. And here we have a public network. Uh, it's not really a public network. This isn't a public computer, but all too often that is what the default setting is on Windows 10. And you're going to need to change that to a private network so that this system will work. So let's go down to Change Connection Properties and then choose Private as your network profile. And then we can hit the back button once and then once again, and we'll be back on this status page here. Now you can scroll down and click on the Network and Sharing Center. And we can confirm here we have a private network now. And we want to go over and click on Change Advanced Sharing Settings. Now there's several groups here. I'm going to collapse this one so that we can see them all clearly. There's settings for private, which is the current profile, guest or public, and then for all networks. So we're concerned with the private group at this point and the all networks. So let's expand the first one here and confirm that Turn on Network Discovery is selected and that the checkbox below Turn on Automatic Setup of Network Connected Devices is also chosen. And then we want to, this is a critical step, select Turn on File and Printer Sharing, okay, for private. Now we can collapse that area and expand the All Networks area. And we have several options down here. With regard to public folder sharing, I would suggest turning on sharing so that anyone with network access can read and write files in the public folders. And then under file sharing connections, generally speaking, use the 128-bit encryption is fine. Most modern computers, that's what they'll be using. But if you have trouble setting up the network, if it doesn't work despite these instructions, you may be using an older type encryption on the device that you're trying to connect with, in which case you may want to come back in and enable the file sharing for devices that use 40 or 56-bit encryption. For now, though, I would just leave that as is because it does give you a higher level of protection, and it is the recommended option. Now, at the very bottom, again, this is very critical, this step, you want to make sure turn off, I should say, password protected sharing is selected. If you have it on, you're going to have to set up the same users on each computer so that they can, on the computers that is accessing your Windows 10 computer, you'll have to have a user with the same username and password as on the Windows 10 machine. So that's generally not the case in a home or office environment, so we're going to turn that off to reduce the complexity of setting this up. Now we can hit Save Changes. And we can close out of this area. Now, you may be prompted to restart your computer when you change some of those settings. If you are prompted, of course, please do so so that everything can be properly enabled. So now we are at the step where we need to share actual folders on the computer. So you're going to go to your File Explorer, which is generally found on your taskbar. But if you don't find it there, you can click on Start and then scroll down to Windows System and open File Explorer from there. We're going to maximize that. Now, you can share any of these areas here. The most typical area to share would be your Documents folder. So let's right-click on that folder and go down to Give Access To, and then choose specific people. Now we're on the choose people to share with window. We can click on the little drop down here and we're going to choose everyone. And then click on the add button. Now you'll notice that everyone now appears in the list below and the permission level is set to read. That's fine if you only want them to be able to read the file. So if you're just sharing music or pictures and you don't want them to be able to edit them, for example, you can leave that as is. But in an environment where you're trying to share files so that each person has the ability to edit them or manage them, delete them, move them around, that kind of thing, then you want to click on the little down arrow here and give them read and write access. Now we can go ahead and click on share. Now, once you've done that, you're going to see this path here. There's a double backslash and the name of your computer. In this case, the name of the computer is Win10 PC. And then the full path to the shared folder, which in this case is in the users folder, the owner folder, and then documents. Now we can record that. I would write that down somewhere because that can be very useful once you're on the computer that you want to grab files through. And once you've done that, go ahead and click on done. Now let's move over to another computer so we can see how to access those files. Now this here is a Windows 7 machine on the same network as the Windows 10 machine that we were just at. And the steps I'm going to show you here are essentially the same as the steps you would follow on a Windows 10 machine. If you were trying to use a Windows 10 machine, a second Windows 10 machine to access the first one. So let's go to the Start button and into Control Panel. And we want to go to Network and Sharing Center. And once again, what we want to confirm here is the network profile. And here, this is fine. So it's a work network. If it was a public network, we would want to click there and choose either work or home network. All right, I can just cancel that because it's already fine. And of course, if this was a Windows 10 machine, we would follow the steps that we did on the first machine to make sure that the profile was correct. Okay, so once you've confirmed that you're on an appropriate network profile, go ahead and go into your File Explorer. We'll maximize that once again. And each File Explorer has an address bar up at the top. And what you want to do there is put that double backslash and then the name of the computer that has the files on it, which in our case is Win10 PC, and then hit enter. And all things being normal, you should get the first folder in the path to the documents that you have shared. So in this case, it's the users folder. So I wanted to get down to the documents folder, so I'm going to double click on the users folder, and the next folder in the path was owner. I'll double click there, and then we'll go to my documents. Right now on the Win10 machine, that folder is actually empty. So to show that this is working, I'm going to say new text document, and I'll just type in, say, Win7 was here. All right. So now I'm going to show you that that works by switching over to the Windows 10 machine in a moment. But first, I'm going to show you how to map this drive to make it much easier to get to this folder. So now that we have the full path to the shared files in the address bar, click to the right of that in the address bar, and you'll see that the whole path becomes highlighted, and we can right click on that and copy it. Then we can go down to computer, or on a Windows 10 machine, be My PC, right? And here we have Map Network Drive available. It's a little bit different on a Windows 10 machine, and I'll show you that in a moment. But let's click there and choose an appropriate drive letter. In this case, Z is pre-selected. We can leave it at that. And then you're going to click in the folder area and then right-click and paste that path that to the shared files that you got from the address bar. And then keep reconnected logon checked, because we want this mapped drive to show up every time the computer is turned on. And then click on finish. Okay. Now what it'll do is it will open a new copy of File Explorer on that path, right? Now I'm going to pull this over a little here to show you that under computer we now have this Z drive mapped, and it shows you the name of the folder and then the path to the folder in brackets, right? Sometimes that just looks too long and confusing, and you want things to be much easier to scan and read. So I suggest in a case like that, taking out the bracketed part and being a little bit more descriptive. So we can right click here and say rename, and let's take out the bracketed bit, and then before the documents say Win 10 PC documents, right? Then it's much clearer, takes up less space, and we can more reasonably see the drive letter when we're scanning the computer, right? So now let's go back and I will show you on the Windows 10 machine that if we go into documents here, that Win7 was here, file is present, so it shows that the network was totally working. And to show you how to map on a Windows 10 machine, let's go ahead and go to the network folder here. This is on the original machine, so what I'm going to set up here is a mapped drive to a folder on the original machine, which is fine. It's good for consistency to have, say, the drive Z as going to the same files no matter what machine you're on, even the file that's serving them. So let's go ahead and go to the Win10 PC. Once again, users, owner, documents. Okay, and we will right click and copy that. Now we can go down to this PC, and then you'll see a computer tab up at the top. So we click on computer and go to Map Network Drive, and then you could click on the little arrow and choose Map Network Drive. And then it's exactly the same process. We'll keep it on Z for consistency. Right click and paste. Make sure reconnected sign-in is chosen. Click on finish. And then again, if we maximize here and we pull this over a bit, we'll see that long path name. You can leave that as is if you like, but I would rather rename it and keep things consistent across the machines. So Win10 PC documents on drive Z, right? We can pull this line back over, and we now have shared and mapped a folder on this Windows 10 machine accessible from any other machine on that network. Hopefully this helps you set up the network that you needed. Thanks for watching.